A lot's about to come out. Another arrest is coming again. Watch for those fires. Explosions make fires too. Explosions make accidental fires too. And then, oops, we don't know how that happened. And then you look into it and you see that it's tied to something that's tied to something that's tied to something that's tied to trafficking. And then you realize, oh, it wasn't just an explosion or a fire. It wasn't an accident. How many things does it take? If people can get in the streets over a convict, why the hell can't people get in the streets over the children? What is going to fuel your rage for the children? Why are you waiting on a release to fuel your rage? People should be like, what the? We're talking about kids? Huh? What? No! Somebody better answer something. How many more kids do you need? How many more need to be swept under the rug? How many more need to be silenced for you to say, oh, enough? It's all of our war. What are you going to do to fight?
And he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that.
Do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from the
phase. We're in the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, it's, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden.
Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that?
Me, okay?
Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, please? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? You know, I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Well, Mel, there's already talk, and we played a couple of sound bites of reimagining the way rebuilding occurs. And obviously there's a great need for high-density housing in California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that. In this case, like goodbye single-family homes, hello high-density housing.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, and it'll take decades to do that too. It's like even if it if it's a good idea, which I don't know if it is, but reminds me of the old cattle barons clearing people off the land, But I don't know. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
Is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible.
You say what to people who insist that these independent investigations or calls for them? Are you passing the blame onto other people?
How could it be when we're doing an independent investigation?
President-elect Trump has blamed you for this crisis. He called you incompetent.
And it turns out that Gavin Newsom absolutely is incompetent while giving the appearance of someone who's poised to be a president. Now, we'll get to all those details in just a minute, but it is important to understand that California Democrats are absolutely getting blasted for their inept leadership and lack of fire preparedness in the lead up to the devastating fires that have ravaged large parts of Los Angeles County, devastated areas, including the Pacific Palisades, Altadena, California, which is near Pasadena. Now, Donald Trump in particular has been going after the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who just keeps getting caught in various lies, including the one that you're about to hear.
The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir that was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to.
Why did you say all the reservoirs were full? And then when you're hit with the facts of one of the major reservoirs being completely empty, well, that's why I'm calling for investigations. And, that's not a state reservoir. I'm going to pass the buck. Please don't blame me. It's not my fault, even though I am the governor of this state. That's who Gavin Newsom is. In every single interview that he has done amid these wildfires, if you listen carefully, all he does is look for other people to blame. Oh, it's the city government. Oh, it wasn't the state government. No. You're the top dog, politically speaking, in the state of California, and he has failed the people of California, not just in regard to the current wildfires, but he has consistently failed the people of California in response to these wildfires, the aftermath of the wildfires. I mean, just take a look at what happened in Paradise, California. Okay, the so-called Camp Fire, which absolutely destroyed that community, robbed people of their homes as a result of PG&E, one of the electrical utilities here in this country, in this state. He bailed them out. I mean, this is who Gavin Newsom is. And
Karen Bass is proving to be one of the worst leaders that America has. The mayor promised voters before being elected that she wouldn't travel overseas. She told the New York Times, "Not only would I, of course, live here, but I also would not travel internationally. The only places I would go would be DC, San Francisco, and New York in relation to LA." But where was she when the most devastating fires in LA's history broke out? In Ghana. And what was she doing there? She was on a taxpayer-funded trip to attend the inauguration of Ghana's incoming president, because that's really important, and that's what serving the people of LA really looks like. But this isn't the only occasion that Karen Bass broke her promise. While mayor, she took an overseas trip to Mexico for another inauguration. She flew to Paris for the Olympics. And does Karen Bass regret being in Ghana while LA was on fire, while residents were forced to flee their homes while they burnt to the ground?
Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas? I am going to focus today
But please,
on what we know.
The scale of the devastation from these fires is hard to comprehend. At least 24 people have died and 23 are missing. The largest fire in the Pacific Palisades has burned more than 95 square kilometres and is right now only 14% contained. Countless homes and buildings have been reduced to rubble and conditions are expected to worsen. And under Karen Bass's so-called leadership, the budget for the LA Fire Department was cut by $18 million last year, which is actually less than her initial proposal, because initially Karen Bass thought it would be a good idea to cut it by more than $23 million, while making sure there was more money for the Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department so a transgender cafe could go up, which tells you exactly about where her priorities have been as mayor. Now, who was it that endorsed Karen Bass? Former President Barack Obama.
You've always been on the right side of the issues that we care so deeply about.
Thank you.
And I'm confident you're going to be an outstanding mayor of LA.
Oh,
so,
thank you so much.
You know, but as you know, you got to run through the tape.
Exactly.
So you got a little more work to do.
Exactly.
But I'm really proud of you and grateful for your friendship. More importantly, grateful for the service you've rendered all these years and all the stuff you're going to do in the future.
Well, thank you so much. Your support means the world to me, and it means the world of Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
I think every taxpayer in America, including those in California, would like to tie this aid to removing Newsom and Bass. Now, gone. Part of the deal would be, and I know Trump likes new ideas, here's one, not a dime until those two are whacked from their jobs. Immediately. They are so incompetent, and all of the decisions they've made led to this, and they're still making mistakes. They're horrific managers. Whack them.